My name is Benjamin. Welcome to Jam 316. I'm sitting in for Kohani Mkuu himself, James Okumu, and we are going to have a very interesting conversation this morning. I would just ask you this. How do you feel about things that you're forced to do? And what are the results of those things that you're forced to do? Somebody comes to tell you, you have to go and apologize. You have to go and, finish up that work. You have to come to work. You have to. How does that make you feel? The opposite of that is, I get to come to work. I get to go and apologize. It gives me an opportunity to restore relationship with this person. That's the kind of conversation that we're going to have today, because some of us, we're just literally in that place where we are hard on ourselves, we are hard on people. I mean, this whole thing, it just becomes, messy at the end of the day, because you don't want to be bossed around, and so I also don't want to be bossed around, so let's give each other space. And if we find better ways of relating, then it's going to be very easy for us. So today on Mind Shift Friday, we are looking at have to versus get to. That's the conversation that we're going to have. Have to versus get to. And I have with me two lovely ladies. There's Dr. Nyawira Thumi and Dr. Nancy Nyaga. We're going to be having this conversation. And while still on this whole thing of have to and get to, the good thing is I get to have my hot cup of coffee. Eden tea, the finest garden tea. It comes in a variety of flavors to choose from. There's Eden green tea, Eden purple tea, Eden lemon tea, Eden ginger tea, Eden premium tea. And I just had one of you send me a screenshot of themselves enjoying Eden tea, the finest garden tea. You need to grab your hot cup of coffee or tea this morning, and there's just something about having a coffee in the car, you're just sipping in the traffic or something. Make that Eden tea. My favorite is lemon Eden lemon tea. I mean, that one, it just goes in differently. It's like the other tea have a different route, and then this one particular one has a different route. It's consistent. It is available in our supermarkets and also at affordable prices. You need to go get yourself a pack, and it's reminding us that we're still in the middle of a pandemic. We still need to observe the social distancing rule. We still need to have our masks on. Let's wash our hands. Let's protect ourselves. Go get vaccinated. All right. Okay. So 20316, that's the SMS line to interact with us, and 0786316316, that's the my WhatsApp number. Please talk to me. Let me know. This whole thing about being forced to work with someone, forced to work with something, forced to go and work out, forced to go and make that presentation. Let's have this conversation. And we are having this conversation on Mindsheet Friday, have to versus get to. Because most of us are just stuck and we are so unhappy concerning life because we have to. We have to go to work. We have to work with that person and see them every day. If it was up to me, I would choose something completely different, And then there's people that we perceive in life to be just living from, they get to do what they like. They get to wake up in the morning. They get to. I mean, how can your career be traveling? I also want that. All right, so this morning we are having a conversation with Dr. Nyawira Thumi and Dr. Nancy Nyaga, and they're just going to take us through this. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning.
It's so good to have you today. Probably I begin with you, Dr. Nancy.
Yes.
We have to. We just have to. Help us.
I'll start. Thank you, Benjamin. Good morning.
Good morning.
And hi, Nyawira. I know her.
Hi.
I'll start by asking you, Benjamin, how are you feeling as you said those two statements? I have to, and I'm seeing your facial expression.
I know I don't have a choice. It's something, I'm being pushed somewhere I don't want to go.
So how does it make you feel?
Frustrated, demotivated,
Yes.
Like I've just been robbed of my choice. So I'm not valued.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
And that's interesting. And I think we want to start there
Yeah.
because it's really a mindset. And in psychology, we actually sometimes call it an error in thinking when we're using it on ourselves and when it's being used on us. You know, when you're being told you have to do this, you have to give an apology, like for a child. You can imagine what that means. They don't even understand what sorry is. And we are there saying, say sorry, say sorry. They will say it, but they don't have the meaning. So the way you're saying it, you go to work, not your choice, you're not enjoying, you're not plugged in, you're not there fully present. So we go home so tired and fatigued, and we don't enjoy what we have to do. And I like that you want us to have this conversation because we go where our mind takes us.
Yeah. Wow.
So all those people who are keeping the mindset of I have to get married at this time, I have to get this mark, I have to earn this amount of money, warped identities that we need to look into.
I like what you have just said. You mentioned it. You said they don't find meaning. So we go and do things because there's no underlying, motivation or reason or motive is already wrong.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. And so, Dr. Nyawira, sometimes we look like there's people that get to do in life what they want. They get to enjoy time. They get to, and especially the rich people, mostly we get to see them. Somebody can run out of the office at any time, go and do what business. They can decide today they are not coming in and things like that. They get to do that. But we don't get to do that. And so the whole thing is really, what's the difference?
Okay, good morning, Benjamin and Nancy.
Yeah.
Hi.
Okay, I would look at it this way. I'll pick up on what Nancy said about have to, about mindset pressure, and I'll divert a little bit. We always need to think about cultural context and our values. Yeah. And also somebody's mental well-being. But back to your question, when people say, I get to, it's like a privilege. They have the privilege of, I get to travel because of the job I have. But then you, on the other side, where you're feeling, I have to, you might feel a little bit disadvantaged. But again, what are your values and what do you really want out of life? So it just depends on your context, because some people are content, let me use the word, generally content with what they have. So they may not compare themselves with those who get to, but they can get there to the point where they are privileged, they have opportunities. Let me stop there for now.
All right. I like that you said that it comes back to the kind of values that I have as a person, because I'm thinking it begins with me. So how I treat myself is the kind of leader I end up becoming, the kind of a husband I end up becoming, a father that I end up becoming, a worker, to my fellow colleagues. Just talk about that as well. Probably sometimes we're too hard on ourselves and we're like, we have to, our values, where they're placed.
Okay, let's go back to context. Context means even the word, I have to, just think about it in your mother tongue.
But then Swahili, it sounds very bad. I just didn't want
to. Ni
lazima,
Ni lazima, lakini saa zingine, ni lazima. You see, for example, if you're like, for example, if you have a family and you can see things are running out in terms of food, you have to go to the shop and fill up the supplies, whatever it is, boga, nyama, whatever. You have to. It is a need. It becomes a need. Okay. So sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. It also depends on your state of mind.
Yes. Okay.
The context. So even in the workplace, sometimes we work with people we probably are not very comfortable with. Let me use the word, we have to, because of maybe the context. So and so is my boss, and for maybe it's for a period of time, and then maybe you look for something else that may work for you.
All right.
So again,
I like your perspectives because I like your perspectives because Get to gives us an opportunity for us to get, you can look at it from a positive place, or we can look at it from a negative place. And so you're saying it depends on the context. And so, Dr. Nyawira and Dr. Nancy, because sometimes you see, we are when we want to change things, this is how we speak to us. Hey, I have to change. I have to consider this thing. I have to go this direction, And so that's when we want to change. And sometimes that, it brings our focus to what is not working.
Yes.
We don't then begin looking at some of the opportunities and the chance that we have to make, the positive,
Yes.
kind of a thing. Just take us through that.
It's interesting that you would bring it out that way, because there's actually something we call psychology of language, a language that allows your system to accept and adapt easily and adjust to the things you need to change.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at you when you're saying, I have to stop this. By the time someone is telling themselves that, they are very remorseful, they have negative emotions,
Yes.
they are not likely to really shift.
Yeah.
However, there are a number who will say, or who will be very resilient and have the grit
Yes.
to really rise above that and say, no more of this. If it's a Christian, no more sin. I'm not going to be in this pattern again. But there are those who will be remorseful for a few hours, a few days, and then they find themselves back. Because they're not positively formulating in their mind, they are changing into what? Who do they want to become? What are they looking forward to? Where are they getting to? So it is important that we don't just punish ourselves and have self-defeating conversations that sabotage, because you're not enjoying doing that. It's like you're there caning yourself. You have to stop this. You have to do this. So it's a sort of punishing self, but very internally. And at some point, mentally you'll be so tired even to continue with the habits. That you find people going to the gym. I have to cut off this.
Yes.
I have to stop it in January.
Yeah.
But come November, December, celebrations again. So these are, and even other addictive habits.
Yeah. So it's literally not something that I can do for long, just because I have already chosen that path. It is the moment, the emotion that I'm feeling on the moment is what is making me make that decision.
Yes, exactly.
All right, I like that. Dr. Nyawira, I used to speak to myself like that because I'm a perfectionist, and so I would want my life to be in a particular way. So I'll come and say to myself, why did you not do this? You have to do this. Why are you not like this? And with time, it was just a matter of time that I started telling that to people who are around me. And so they know that we can be friends. I'm a really nice guy, but if you don't do what we're supposed to do, my tone, my everything changes, and I calm down on you. So I'm just, once I got married, I learned that does not work. I hit the wall, so I just had to come back to myself and say, okay, I have to be very nice all through and begin and it just begins with me personally. So let's talk about, how do you just change that to yourself getting to the place of giving yourself an opportunity and a chance to improve and see positive, see that this is not an obligation, it's an opportunity for me to become a better person, and I need to take it. So how do we go, and then how do I, as a leader, how I can rephrase that to my, to the people that are following me, and just, positive vibes.
Positive vibes. I was watching you when you were saying, have to, and then when I got married, I realized, okay, one of the things is back to the psychology of language. What do we tell ourselves? You see, you said, you asking yourself, telling yourself, I have to. Why didn't I? Okay, so sometimes we set standards and we want to accomplish certain things. So it's very internal and inward. This is what I want for myself.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, we also need to be self-aware. We're not always self-aware. I think when you're talking, let's go straight. Self-awareness is important, because sometimes we are not aware that we are causing stress to ourselves by the language we use. Maybe because you're married now, your wife may tell you, Benjamin, you said A, B, C, D. Then you become aware
Yeah.
that you are repeating a certain phrase or a certain behavior. So self-awareness is important, and sometimes someone honest may point it out to you, or someone you love or care for or cares for you will point it out.
Yes.
But like when we're talking about our politicians, I want to be very general, or maybe even leaders, there's something called emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Sometimes just by watching the body language of an individual can tell you that so-and-so is not very okay. And I think Nancy alluded to the example of a child. When you tell a child, you have to apologize. We need to know the age group, the mental development, and things like that. The same way, when you're a leader, sometimes take time to observe the people you interact with. So what is their need? And when they're coming to you, how should I speak to them so that I feel like I am listening, I am attentive, I am caring? So those are other skills that we can learn.
Okay.
But language to ourselves and to others is also very important. But we need to be self-aware.
All right.
Yeah.
Dr. Nancy, I'm seeing you writing notes. Talk to us.
I'm listening keenly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking, so when we get to that place where we are beginning to fix other people, fix other things, we want them to literally come to our way, and we're trying to push people that direction, will we really even achieve the desired result, especially when we keep on going like we have to, because sometimes, like Dr. Nyawira was saying, there's people that we feel like I have to be difficult with this one, otherwise nothing is going to get done. And then there's this particular one that it just doesn't work with them. Yeah, so which direction should we go with that? Dr. Nancy?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I thought you wanted to continue a bit with Nyaira. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Thank you, Nyawira, for bringing that up, and also Benjamin, what you're asking. Really, if you look at even how you're putting the word "have to," even as we continue talking about it, I connect with the energy the statements bring up.
Yes.
And there's a lot of pressure. You feel pressured to do things. You feel pressured to be a certain way, and they have to also, and I hope and that there are parents who are listening to us who are raising their kids today, because the pressure to be something, you're telling somebody, I know you this way, I know this is what you are. So you have already defined them with their abilities, their capabilities, and therefore you have already said, like the example you've given, I have to be very hard with this one. Why? Because you have already determined this is who they are. Therefore, you're treating them in a certain way. You put them in a certain box. And the have to is really a dangerous way of viewing life, even parenting, even the way we do things, because our mind is so plastic. That's what we know from neuroscience today, that it changes, it expands, it grows, it learns, it unlearns things. So we need to be easy, even as we do these things, and probably have to get to the statement you have been using, getting to do something, getting to enjoy something, getting to learn. So they have to also just look at the person having no choice. You must do the work this way. So we have bosses in the offices who have decided that they load down things on the people they manage. If we look at any profession, even doctors or people in the business circles, there are those who think they know and others don't know. So we have all these categories because we are not allowing ourselves to understand we are all created with a mind, and therefore we have a mindset, and we can grow and we can learn. They have to sort of takes away that and makes people feel grouped in certain categories. Bright, foolish, and in our school setting as well. They cannot do this, you're not able to do this, and all of us, there's something we are able to do or we cannot do. So they have to mentality get people to feel like there's a certain path you're not able to follow, there's a certain way you're not. I listened to you earlier when you said when someone has a lot of money, And I just wanted to get back to you on that.
Please
and
do.
you said something. I don't know. I don't know whether I noted that down. Yes, I've been taking notes.
Yes.
Those
notes are the ones I want.
The rich people get to enjoy. And I'm looking at Benjamin and I'm saying, I wish you could be a fly in my office, in my room, and hear some of the things I hear from the people you're saying, because what you are equating, and that's one of the box. If you're rich, you're happy. I have to be rich, I have to be happy. That's a statement we hear all the time. I have to make a lot of money. I resign by the time I'm 40. So I work with people who have resigned because they've made a lot of money, but they're not happy. So it was a fleeting thing they were seeking. So those are small boxes we've created by saying, I have to achieve this by the time I'm 30, which is a good goal, yes, but also becomes what I call the positive distortion, because you're thinking when you have that money, when you have that partner, when you have that baby, that is it. But the get to mentality helps us to know we achieve this and we go set a higher goal. So we continue growing, we continue becoming better. But while at it, we are enjoying because we have choices to make.
All right.
As compared to the have to mentality. We have achieved. Now I am married, I settle. I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
And there is work for you to be able to enjoy that marriage.
Dr. Nancy, I want to ask you, is it possible?
Yes.
I have to be married at 30. I have to be, have this kind of money by the time I'm 40. I have to have this by the time I am this. I have to.
Yes.
Can we really be happy when we put those kind of statements and those kinds of goals or whatever they are?
Not really. Let's even stay with that example. And I want to shout out to the ladies out there who are saying I have to be married by 30. So 29, they can't even celebrate their 29th birthday. I get to hear that all the time. Because it's not like I have to be married by 30. It's not like you're going to harvest somebody from a tree somewhere who's been waiting. Now that I've hit 30, here is the person. We need to be able to know, I know this person. Am I even marriageable myself? Do I have the qualities to make a partner? Because we're not just looking at the people we want. And have I gotten the right person? So we look at more readiness to be able to plug into something. There are those who get married at 40 and they'll be happy. There are those who get married at 30 because there are other things going on in their life or with their life that may have prevented them from getting married. So the timelines we have set for ourselves, sometimes I have to do this. We also need to look at the context. And I like what Nyawera said earlier, that what's the context? That you live your life as Benjamin. You have your abilities and possibilities and opportunities as Benjamin, not as Nyawera or Nancy.
Yeah.
We compare ourselves a lot. So we are not able to, because we want to be like other people. We want to see us getting married like the other person.
Yes.
And have the money, the car, the things they have. And all those are tangible things we see that don't equal success, don't equal happiness.
All right.
It's the world's way of defining success and happiness. And those are the have-tos. Something I can hold in my hand like this, my phone or this mouse. Those are the have-tos. I have to have it. I must put it in my bag. I must tick this box. Then I settle, and before I know it, no more joy from that box. So then I need to go to the next thing.
All right. So by the time I'm even coming to say to myself, I have to do this, my perspective is already wrong. I am choosing from broken mechanics that is being influenced by a lot of things that I do not know. Dr. Nyawera, let me get your thoughts on that as well.
I'll just go back to what I said in the beginning about context. And then have to will depend on several things, because there are things we have to do.
Yes.
Out of necessity.
Which
and
is
the
the
word
motivation.
Is we need to do them.
Right.
We need to do them.
Yeah.
I need to leave my house early. I have to leave my house early so that I can get my flight. Or so that I don't miss my appointment. Then there is, I get to, like I said, it is a privilege. And then back to what you actually, let me go back to actually what you said earlier
Yes.
about being rich.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be happy, and it doesn't mean that you'll be sad. Okay?
Yes.
Then there are people who don't have a lot, but they're happy.
Yes.
I think maybe we can't define values for people.
Mm-hmm.
We ourselves define for ourselves.
Yeah.
And even when I talked about emotional intelligence
Yes.
and self-awareness, even sometimes as parents,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have a manual to tell us how to parent.
Yes.
We try and do our best,
Yeah.
but a lot of time we are influenced by our environment and the way we are brought up. So there are people who will say, "Oh, good morning, Benjamin." Then another one, when you greet them, they look at you like, "Why are you greeting me in the morning? Oh, I mean, what's your problem?" They don't feel like talking, you know,
Yeah.
because that is their context. So we learn from our environment, and we learn from what we observe, but we can also learn from other things. Like now, we are reminded that our mind is flexible and we can change. Now, let me use the word have to. The doctor might say, because you have X amount of weight, you will need to exercise. If they tell me need, it sounds better than you will have to. Because it's more positive when you say you will need to exercise because it is for your health, you know?
Okay.
So what words do we use? Language is very important.
All right. I think we're gonna go deeper into language, because one of the things that I just want to one of the things that I want to figure out is, so if the impact on the result, because of the motivation, the motivation behind this whole thing, because I'm thinking, okay, so I get to, and then I achieve the results that I want, and then I have to, and then achieve the same results that I want. So when I look at the status as my status at the point where I've achieved those results, where will I be standing at the end of the day? Especially, I know, Dr. Jawira, you're talking to us about context, but if I said I have to get groceries, back home on my way, because if I don't, it will interfere with tomorrow morning, and then I fail to do that. What's that impact on? What will that impact be, or how will it affect me?
Of course, you'll be disappointed with yourself because you see it's an obligation, especially if you're a parent. Yeah. You have children eating at home, or you have your parents. You're the one taking care of your parents. Imagine you go home and there's nothing to eat in the morning. You'll definitely feel terrible about it. So at the back of your mind, even if it means going back to the shop, you probably will, because you don't want to spend the night worrying about what people are going to eat for breakfast. So sometimes the have to can be a motivator.
Okay.
It can be. It's not always negative.
Yeah.
It can be a motivator.
All right. So it can be a positive,
It can be.
Okay.
It can be, because it makes you do something you need to do.
Okay.
You need to do.
All right.
I need to wake up. I have to wake up early so that I don't miss the train.
Okay.
I need to wake up early so that, you see? So sometimes have to becomes a need.
Yes.
For example, you're a student and you're studying for exams. It's your last year.
Yes.
You can even say there's no choice. Huna choice.
Yeah.
You have to study so that you pass the exam and finish your Form 4 or your last year of university or your college or whatever it is.
I'm thinking, won't that it will work for a certain kind of people who will not be affected, and
Yes.
get to will also work on specific kind of people, if I'm getting you properly.
Yes, you're right, because again, it depends on our mental wellness. All right?
Yeah.
So in our work, we meet people who come to us because they feel a little bit stuck about something.
Yes.
So they say, I'll just give an example. I'm now in my 4th year and I feel I would like to take a break, but I
Yeah.
also feel I have to finish.
Mm.
And at that point, when they are having all these thoughts, you probably look at their transcripts and you can see a lot of marks going down from 1st year to 4th year.
Yes.
They've been doing reasonably well, but then at some point, the marks are not very good. So you realize probably there's a problem. So probably the person is not very well. So at this point is when we do our assessment and we might notice that this client we have is not in their best frame of mind. So at that point, maybe that's where psychological intervention will take place. So have to might not work for all of us.
Yes.
Depending on personality and even our mental wellness and our awareness. So there are very many dynamic factors that come in here. It's not just a single thing. We don't have a single answer for have to, want to, need to, get to.
So me, I'm just looking at myself, and when I was looking at this, I just felt like that's what it reminded me of, because I felt for me it was a bit harsh. I was being difficult and hard on myself, and so I started changing into something that's a bit mellow, that will motivate me to go ahead and achieve those results. I say that I need to probably write a book, I need to do this, I need to do this. And for me, the motivation would be, I get an opportunity to serve people with this, so let me sit down and begin doing it. But then if I say I have to, I will begin condemning myself and telling me, Benjamin, what are you doing with your life? And like we said this in January, today is, we're in August in 2021, you've not done anything. Will you, you really need to be serious about your life. Dr. Nancy, sorry. So the impact on the result, because of whichever of this we have chosen to go, will the motivation affect me at the end of it all, after I have achieved the results, whether I got there by have to or get to, what will be my state?
Thank you. I need to just say something.
Yes,
I've
please
heard
do.
Dr. Nyawera say is the have to. The have to will work from, say, like moralistic point of view.
Okay.
You see, like when we say you shall not commit murder.
Yes.
You shall not commit adultery. There are certain things we must do, or we must obey, and they are about life. And if you climb a tree and decide to drop yourself, the force of gravity will work on you.
It will be a reality in your life.
So we also need to look at the have to, the cleaning of the house she's talking about. Going to work to be able to provide for your children. So I think we really need to understand from that point of view, the way she's putting it, there are certain things we must drive safely on the road, avoid an accident, for example. So there are those have tos. But I think what I'm hearing you, Benjamin, bringing up is, just motivating yourself a little with the things you tell yourself every day.
Yes.
Because like doing groceries or going for shopping or sometimes working, we may not really enjoy it because I'm saying I have to. And there are many people who are waiting to resign from their jobs or would want to get off their jobs because they would want to get into something they enjoy, but they have families to feed. So that statement of I have to remains. But on to your point on the impact of results, it's gonna be very different when you're not using I have to, when you're not feeling forced to do something, pressured to do something. You feel so aligned with it, you're enjoying it, you're working for fulfillment, not just for money. So it doesn't matter how much you may earn, you enjoyed the work. You earn from enjoying what you do. And that's the part I always even share with my clients. We don't work just for money. We work for fulfillment. I mean, God works throughout. He's watching over you and me. So what makes us think when we have money, we just put our feet up and enjoy? You die. If you do that, you start dying. When we have made a lot of money and all we want to do is put up our feet and watch Netflix throughout, your brain starts dying. So there's a place for work. So when I get to, so I have choices, I have possibilities, I have opportunities, and I can choose what to do.
Okay.
Even if I choose to bake, or even if I choose to go visit with somebody, or do something, whether it's exercise or start a business, as a hobby or something that I'm choosing to enjoy.
Okay.
The more you're enjoying it, the results are definitely going to be different, because I said you are present totally.
Okay.
The mindset, you're spiritually connected with it. You're doing it. You're putting all your energy. You're thinking about it sometimes at night, how to make it better. So there's a lot of growth.
Yeah.
Actually, when you shift that, and the way you're putting it is, I would look at it from a perspective of you actually create a growth mindset.
Okay.
As opposed to the other one is really just like a fixed mindset. I have to. I have to do this. I have to clean the house. So those are fixed things I have to do.
Yeah.
I have to put food on the table. That I have to. But the other one, you have, possibilities that are endless.
Okay.
So when you're saying I get to enjoy driving to work. So you're there worshiping, you're there having your cup of Eden tea, the way you put it. It's not just going to work, but you're listening to music, you're enjoying yourself. But there's somebody else who is having to drive to work. So they are cutting in everywhere.
Yes.
So I would say the results are very, very different, because you're aligned to it and enjoy your life as well as you enjoy whatever the work is doing.
All right. I just want to thank you so much for, just having this conversation with two of you. I just want, 1 minute for each and every one of you, just 1 minute remark and what you would, just advise. Dr. Nyawera, you can go ahead. Just your last thoughts. Yes, your last thoughts.
My last thought is get to is great.
Yes.
And when we can do what we really enjoy is wonderful, because like Nancy said, you have opportunities to think a bit more broadly, opportunities to enjoy yourself in whatever you're doing. And there's growth. There's actual growth.
Yes.
So I hope we can all reach that point. It's ideal, it's idealistic, but it's reach the point where we can get to do what we really like.
All right.
And on the other hand, as much as we, let me use a general word, have to go to work, on the side, you can also have a hobby or an activity that you get to enjoy.
True. Okay.
Yeah, and especially now with the pandemic, our choices are not so many for everybody. Okay. So I hope we can get to do what we like.
All right. Dr. Nancy, just 30 seconds or something like that. Yes.
I would want to say that what I have seen in my clinic, the have to mentality sometimes, when we set expectations and we are constantly saying, I have to do this, and you're not able to do that, people get disappointed, frustrated. I had to get married at this time and I'm not married, and it's 5 years after that. There's disappointment, frustration, anxiety, depression. When you have said that I have to on other people, this person must do this for me, God must do this for me, and life must offer me this, there's a lot of anger and resentment. Right. So I'd ask people to learn to say, I want to think of the process. I need to get to this and enjoy it and align yourself to it. Right. And for the parents who are listening, allow your kids to learn to enjoy what they are doing, and don't, define their abilities so powerfully. Allow them to emerge and get to discover themselves.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been lovely just having the two of you today and having this conversation, Dr. Nyawera Thumi and Dr. Nancy Nyaga, clinical psychologist. It's been a pleasure. And I get to have this opportunity to have this conversation with you, get to have this opportunity to host Jump 316. Have yourself a lovely day, even as you go through your day. You're blessed.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.